This is Global Tel Link. You have a prepaid call from
You know what it is?
an incarcerated individual at San Quentin Rehabilitation Center, San Quentin, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. To accept this call, say or dial 5 now. Thank you for using Global Tel Link.
What up, Sammy?
What's going on, Dusty?
I want to know about Sammy. Let's go all the way back, man, to the beginning. Tell everybody where you grew up.
I grew up in Sacramento. I was raised, parents from the plazas. So I was raised in the plazas. And, went through some trials and tribulations when I was a kid that forced my mother and my father to split up. My mother ended up moving to Southern California in the 90s, San Bernardino, Little Africa, and kind of got herself caught up with some situation that led to her incarceration. And due to her incarceration, we ended up, jumping home to home, eventually ending up in a foster home and relocating back to Sacramento with our father when I was probably about 12 years old. So, once I get back to Sacramento at about 12 years old, it's like, I'm exposed to a lot already. I already know how to hustle. I already know how to get money. But at the same time, I'm dealing with so much untreated trauma that I didn't even realize I had at that time. Being a kid, going through the system, feeling abandoned by my parents, and just going through that cycle of, not understanding life as a 10-year-old kid,
Yeah, man. Well, let's take it slow. Talk to us about being in the system and some of the horrors of, going through that. You said you didn't, know who to trust and things like that. Talk to me about that.
Being in the system, I'm going to be honest. Like, when I first came to prison, I was, 20 years old, county jail for the first time when I was 18 years old. And I think, going to prison, I started in Pelican Bay. So, you always heard the stories about Pelican Bay, the violence, and, So you can, when I got off the bus, we don't want to admit it. And, young men going to prison, but it was a fear in me of, damn, what's going to happen to me up here? Am I going to survive this? I remember on the bus ride, as we riding up there, I was like, damn, they really sent me somewhere to die. And not in a sense of, being killed, but just in a sense of, isolation in the middle of nowhere where I know, damn, this is a place where I can move my mind and nobody will know. This is a place where I can be locked in a hole and nobody would ever know that I was gone. And that's the feeling it gave. So when I got off that bus, that's how I felt going to a yard as a kid in a sense, not knowing anybody. I didn't hop off the bus with friends. I didn't hop off the bus with homies. Hopped off the bus as an individual, walking into an environment where politics exists, racism exists, and not really having an understanding of that, of what that really meant. So even though you mask it with violence and you mask it and act like you don't give a fuck because you fight and rioting and doing all those other things, deep down inside when you lay down at night, you still do have that fear and everything is fear-based. But you mask it because your childhood and what they taught you as a child start to register. Boys don't feel. Boys don't express emotion.
Yeah.
You feel me? Boys don't cry. And so those childhood thoughts and those childhood lessons start to surface now into my young adulthood. So now I put on this mask and put on this exterior like I'm not hurt. Like I'm not sad that I don't see my family. Like I'm not hurting that I abandoned my family, a little bit of family I do have. And I felt that.
Before we continue, how many years are you doing, and how many years have you already walked down?
I've been down going on 16 years. I was sentenced to 159 years to life.
Damn. We're going to get to that. Let's take it slow, man, because I want to understand the progression and, you know, how it led to you getting 150 plus years. When did the street start intriguing you? When did you jump off the porch?
Probably about 10 years old. And I'm going to be honest, I jumped off the porch on like innocent shit. And I say, excuse my language, I jumped off the porch on some innocent stuff. And I say innocent because, like, it started off just selling candy. But it was selling candy for a purpose. I remember at 10 years old, I used to have to sell candy to pay for a hotel room every single night at 10 years old.
Wow.
So we wouldn't go to the foster system. So every night, I remember, like, it was two dudes in San Bernardino. They was from IE Projects named Mike and Tim. Mike and Tim was both from IE Projects, and they were brothers. And they had a homeboy named Dale. Now, Mike and Tim, they was two Damos and a Black Rag, and Dale was a Crip. But in San Bernardino, like, they all function as one. But now, so as a 10-year-old kid, these were like, they were probably about 19, 20 at the time. This was 1999.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
And these were full-fledged gang members. But what they would do is they would take the local kids and go talk to their parents and their guardians, whoever had ownership of them. And they would actually tell your parents, like, look, we trying to teach these kids how to be entrepreneurs and know how to take care of themselves, because they actually knew what this environment bred. They knew it bred abandonment, foster homes. So what they were doing was they were giving us tools to survive without even knowing what they were really doing. Well, they probably did know. So that's where it started with me. It started with just selling candy. So I'm selling candy. We would go to Smart Final, you know what I mean, and buy. It started with peanut brittle, stuff like that. We selling them for $6. And then eventually it started, like, it decreased to where you can go buy the, you remember, Dusty, you about probably my age or a little older. You remember them long licorice that was like, you remember them long licorice that was like jump ropes?
I already know what you're talking about. I can taste it right now.
Yeah. So what we did was we would go to Smart Find, and you could buy a box of those. It's 30 in the box for $9.99 at the time, and we would sell each one for $2. So now I'm taking a $9.99 investment, making it $60 off of it, plus my donations. So I'm going home cheaply with $60 a night as a 10-year-old kid, but I had to pay for that hotel room every single night. So that's kind of where I jumped off the porch, and it was a necessity for me to get money. Eventually, I ended up going to the foster home anyway. So now in the foster home, things happen in the foster home that we never speak of: abuse, abandonment. You know what I mean? Like crazy shit going in the foster home, and you just live with this pain. I'm split up from my siblings at the time, so my brother and my sister are in a different foster home, and I'm completely by myself at a whole nother home. So I'm going through that feeling as a 10-year-old kid. Now I'm like, damn, my mom in prison. Me and my pops, I don't even know who my pops is at the time. You know, and now my two siblings, the ones I love, my little brother and my big sister, are completely somewhere else on the other side of town. So now I'm really feeling like it's me against the world. So that filled me with hate. That filled me with anger. That filled me with rage. And like I say, that's where it started. So, and eventually it elevated. When I got back to SAC, now I'm living with my pops, but I still have this way of hustling. So I'm still hustling now, but I don't have to pay for a hotel room every single night because we're living with my grandmother. And as we're living with my grandmother now I have money. So now I can go buy the Jordans. Now I could go buy the jersey. Now I could go buy all these clothes to mask my pain and what I'm really going through. And I remember being like a 12-year-old kid, and my friend asked me one day, he caught me hustling. And I was ashamed of it. Like, if I was selling candy or something and I seen you and your mom out, I would hide. Like, I would hide behind cars in the grocery store parking lot. And, like, I remember one of my boys caught me. And he was like, you be hustling? Like, to him, it was cool. And then he was like, why you ashamed to let people know you hustle? And I told him one time, I remember, I said, hustling for me is a reminder that I don't got nobody that love me enough to buy me the things that I want like y'all parents do y'all. And so like, and so that blew his mind. So and now as I get older, I look back, you know, video, everything is always 2020 when it's in your hindsight. I look back and I'm like, damn, I remember somebody asking me, man, how'd you get all your clothes and shit? And my mom was sitting in Chowchilla at the time, but I would be like, oh, my mom, she stay in Southern California. She rich. She just send us money. So instead of me allowing people to know I hustle, I would lie and tell these people that my mother, who was in Chowchilla, is actually staying in Southern California and she's rich. And for me, what that did was it helped me feel love. It's like I was able to put on that mask and make these people think I had somebody who loved me enough to buy me things that they had, you know?
So let's talk about your journey. Okay. Let's start from the beginning, man. When was the first time you got locked up behind bars? Talk to me. Was it juvie? Was it jail?
It was jail for the first time. My first time, like, I've been committing crimes since a teenager, you know, so just, you know what I mean, to be honest. And it was like, you know what I mean, that, like I was telling you about that candy selling, that eventually now I'm 12 and I'm so ashamed of what I'm going through that eventually I'm selling drugs now. Now I'm robbing, you feel me? Now I'm carrying guns and that's where it started. But I've never been caught. So now I'm doing it, getting away with it, thinking like, okay, this is normal. Until I got 18. I was 18, I ended up getting arrested for a high-speed chase and a gun. And then so when I get arrested for a high-speed chase and a gun, I go to the county jail room for the first time. They run my prints. I'm fresh 18 years old. I bail out of jail. So when I go get my court date the next day, the bail bond say, hey, Sammy, some detectives want to talk to you. Apparently your fingerprints came up as some unsolved crimes that been unsolved since you were 16 years old. It dates back for the last 2 years. Home invasion, robbery, kidnapping, you feel me, sexual assault. And so now I'm thinking to myself, like, damn, so before I could even turn around and leave out of there, boom, detectives running their guns on me. And for me, that was an eye-opener. So now it's like, now my whole history is put in front of my face. Damn. Now I'm questioning my whole existence, my life. Like, damn, I'm accused of all these home invasion robberies. And when I look back, I really have to dig deep and see what's going on now because all of my victims are white. You feel me? All my victims are from prominent communities. So now this is a real issue that I'm having to question myself about what's going on. What took place? You know, within these home invasions, why did you feel like this way of living was okay? And you know what I mean? And for years I always say like, well, oh, it didn't happen like this, and a lot of stuff they got it wrong, and they didn't get it all right. But at the end of the day, they still convicted me of it, and I have no co-defendant. So now here I am sitting here with all this time because I did cooperate with authorities. So now on paperwork, this is me. And so now I go back and I say, damn, like, I mean, that's something that I'm just, you know what I mean? I'm still struggling to understand. Like, you know, like, damn, how did my life take this crazy turn? You know? As a 16-year-old kid, where you thought robbery was just a normal thing, where you thought running into adults' home and justifying your actions, saying, well, I'm a child, and I'm, you know what I mean, running up in these people's home, but not knowing it's something deeper because I'm going into homes creating trauma. The same trauma I felt was done to me as a child, but not even realizing it. But justifying my action, saying, well, hey, I'm a child running into adult homes. I'm giving them action that, you feel me, defending themselves. I'm giving them action that responding a certain kind of way and standing up for themselves. But at the end of the day, it's like, it's deeper than that. it's rooted in my trauma and what I thought was normal and what I normalized because I was dealing with so much pain in my youth that I didn't know how to go ask for help. I didn't know how to tell people when I was in the foster home that I was hurt. I didn't know how to get out the foster home and talk to people and say, I feel abandoned. I feel neglected. When my mother went to prison, that situation where the police kicking in my door traumatized me. And I don't mean to rewind, but like I wrote my first traumatic event the other day, and I can still remember it vividly. So I'm gonna give it to you just how it happened.
Please.
I was sitting in the. I still remember like yesterday. I was sitting in the bathroom, and I could hear the commotion going on outside of the bathroom door. Due to the fact that domestic violence was so present in my home, I just started with my mother and her husband fighting again. So I already made up my mind. When I leave out this bathroom, I'm going to go straight to my room. As soon as I open up the door, I'm staring down the barrel of a big black gun. Get the down.
Damn.
Like, I could still hear those words echoing in my head. Like, and I'm standing there in shock, like, frozen, in fear. Get the down now. Like, I could still hear those words echoing again. That's when I snap out of it.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
I turn left and I run to my room in an attempt to jump from the 2-story window. And like, in the midst of me jumping, trying to jump out the window, I remember my leg getting pulled and I come crashing down on my bed. And I remember dude that just had the gun in my face when it looked over and looked out the window like, man, you were really going to jump. Like, I could hear him saying that to me as he walked me back to the living room. When I walked in the living room, I see my mom, naked body on the floor, hands tied behind her back. Her husband right next to her. My sister in the corner with my little brother cradling him as he cried hella loud. And I remember looking at my mom's face while she's on that floor. And she just, like, with a fear in her eyes that I'd never seen. And she just kept saying over and over, I'm sorry, son. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And eventually they dressed her. I looked around. I look on all these dudes' shirts, and all these dudes' shirts say the same thing. Police. Police. So they dressed my mom, you feel me? Take her downstairs, put her in the back of the cop car, and just lead her away in handcuffs. And as I watched my mom fade away in the distance, like, I cried. Like, I cried because I was scared. I cried because I was hurt. Like, I cried because I was the only parent I knew. I cried because I was my hero, and that was the only affection and love I had, and it was now being took from me. And that was 1999. I was 9 years old. So when I go back and replay that event, I never realized how that event affected me.
Yeah.
And you know, I never realized that. And I as a kid, I didn't know how to talk about that. I just sucked it up and went on about my life. Like, okay, that is what it is. She's gone. I got to get over it. But not knowing that was something I was dealing with as a kid. That, you know what I mean? I didn't know how to express. And now, fast forward, where I'm out here hustling now, or I'm in a foster home, being exposed to so much, so young. You know what I mean? It's like, and I still don't know how to talk about it. So now here I have all these untreated issues and this untreated trauma that's seeping out. It's being reassured in the midst of me committing crime as I'm getting this power back. For what? For the love of money? Because I feel like with money I can mask my pain and make society think that I'm loved. With this same money I can take care of my family problems and provide, because nobody taught me how to properly, you feel me, educate yourself on how to get a job and how to, you know what I mean, be financially literate, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I can, you know what I mean, so I can survive in this world. So now here I am, a 15-year-old, 16-year-old, 17-year-old committing crime with a 10-year-old mindset that was traumatized that never got over it. And then you go in them same courtrooms as an 18-year-old kid, and they say you're a menace to society. You have no respect for authority. You know what I mean? Due to the fact that some of the victims in my case had ties to the law. So now it was like, oh, well, he has no respect for authority. He has no respect for women. You know what I mean? He's a racist kid. Like, all of these things come out, and I'm like, man, I don't know. I don't know how to. And then how do you say I need help? To say I need help, even in a court of law, is to say, y'all can have me for the rest of my life.
Yeah. Damn. A lot of trauma. And a lot, dog. Now, talk to me about, and you know what? I'm good with going another, like doing up until 8 if you can do, I'll leave it up to you if you want to do instead of 3 segments, we could do 4.
Okay, I'm with you. Whatever you need me for,
cool,
I'm with
cool.
you.
Is Ali around?
I think he'd be back in a minute.
Oh, for sure. I just wanted to say what's up to him. Tell him I said what's up.
Okay. Right. Yeah, when he walked by me, I definitely let him know.
Cool. Let's continue. All right, man. So, did you ever join a street gang, or were you just kind of doing this, for your own hustle?
I was doing, like, you could say we were part of, like, you tell me I'm from the north, so it's like, we like the manners, the heights. You know what I mean? Growing up, we just a whole clique of just a whole bunch of little stunner fam. You know what I mean? Kids, just, doing our own thing. But me, I was kind of in my own lane, I still had my partners, but I was kind of like, I was the fucked up kid. A lot of my partners, they grew up kind of like, they grew up, they had moms at least that was there. A lot of them didn't have dads either. I had one friend that had his mom and his daddy, but a lot of them, they was kind of like, they played sports, you know what I mean? They played sports. They went home to their families every night. Me, I was the kid house hopping. I was the kid staying with my friends and their families. But, you know what I mean? I'm into different things. I'm into cars. I'm into guns. I'm into crime. You feel me? And I just come stay at your house at night, you feel me, when I'm done living my life. Doing the things I do throughout the day.
Okay. Tell us what Sacramento was like back in the day. And so you were, sounds like you were born in the late 70s like myself. Is that about right?
I was born in the 90s.
Oh, no shit.
The late 70s. I like how you did that. I like how you did that.
Okay. You sound before you. I mean, you sound older than you are, and I say that respectfully. Talk to us about what Sacramento was like, man, growing up a little bit. Just, in general, what was Sacramento like?
Sacramento was cool, man. Like, one thing about Sac is, like, especially in the north, everybody's family. You could be from the heights, you could be from the manners, but at the end of the day, and we be funking like a motherfucker sometimes, but at the end of the day, it's like you got a cousin from over there, you got a grandma from over there, you got a daddy from over there, you got an uncle from over there. So it's like, man, it's like one big family, And in our era, like when I grew up in middle school, it was more about like, you feel me? Don't get it wrong, it's always gangs, but it's like, it became that era where like everybody was trying to be just saucy. Everybody was trying to be something. Everybody was trying to establish a name for themselves. So you got some that was out there doing the worst of the worst. You got some that was robbing. You got some that's killing. You got some that's playing sports. So, but overall the environment was, to me, it was cool. It bred violence, but
this call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Growing up, you start to feel like violence become the norm, so you find yourself like, as if violence ain't really like it happened, like I lost one of my friends when I was 16 years old, right before my 16th birthday, and it was like, even for me to just sit here and say that now, like violence was normal, and we lost people on these streets.
What was going on in your life just before you got the 150 plus year sentence?
I think I was in a point in my life where I was trying to figure it out. You know, like I really didn't have a sense of direction. I didn't know where I was gonna go in life. You know, I didn't know really what I was good at. I just knew I loved the hustle. I just knew and when I say hustling, I take it back to my, like I say, the selling candy days. I love to just interact with human beings and be that, and you know what I mean, have that dialogue and let people get to know who I was. And in a sense, it's like I lost that innocence. And once I lost that innocence, like the drive for money, the drive for violence took over. And it was now like, here I am striving just to get the money now, because I'm telling myself as an adult, I have to be able to take care of real responsibility. I have to be able to, hold on, I have to be able to now pay rent, to establish something, having a car all the time. My little brother was there in the foster home at the time, so even just the thought of get him out the foster home and, you know what I mean, trying to be his parent or be his guardian, you know? And so those were things I was thinking about, but I had no sense of direction. So here I am just running around in the streets like a chicken with his head cut off. But to the outsiders looking in, you can see a 17-year-old kid with money, cars, jewelry, drugs. So in your mind, you're like, oh, he got it figured out. So by me, while people thinking I had it figured out, I started to believe I had it figured out. And really, I was lost. So here I am on a daily doing wrong, but believing that I actually got it figured out as if I'm ready to be an adult. And I really have no stability in my life at all. And so that's kind of where I was at the time. Like right before I came to jail, that's where I was at. I was just living a lie in a sense.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
My life was so unbalanced that it was like my daily life consists of robbery. Like, that's what I'm doing. I'm getting up to, I'm going to go hit a lick today. I'm going to go hit a lick. And the licks just get different. It's random licks. It's businesses. It's hole-in-the-wall restaurants. It's, you know what I mean, hotels. It's like anything. Now it's just...
However you're talking into the mic now, keep it like that because you sound really clear. Because every once in a while you kind of go off, but however you're talking now, keep it just like that. Thanks, bro. All right, keep going. Sorry.
Okay, so yeah, can you hear me now? You want me to go get on the other phone? Because there's another phone open where I can call you.
You sound perfect, dog. You're good.
Okay, so yeah, that's where I was at, though. I was just, you know what I mean? I'm committing all these wrongs, doing all these crimes. Like, every day my life consisted of that. Like, now I'm going to go hit a lick. Damn, I got to go make some money. And it's spare the moment. I can walk in a restaurant, or I can walk in somewhere and see you dealing with $5,000-$6,000 counting your money. And I started to notice little things like on certain days, Tuesdays, certain restaurants take their money, put them in the bank bags and drive them to the banks. So now these are nice licks in my mind. It's going to last 1 minute, 2 minutes, but I'm walking away with $5,000 to $7,000 in a matter of 2-3 minutes. So to me, I'm like, I'm winning at the end of the day. But as fast as I'm getting this money, I'm spending it just as fast because I have responsibility. I have to pay rent. I have to, I don't know, look out for people in my mind, the people that love me and took me in, like my friends and their parents. I find myself just giving all of this money away because, first off, they love me, so this is my way of loving now. Now, if I love you, I have to provide for you and take your struggle away as well. So now here I am getting the money, giving it right away, blowing it. I buy me some shoes. I buy my partner some shoes. I go to the mall, buy me a few fits. I buy a few of my partner's fits too, just because I feel like we equal. You feel me? When I didn't have love, y'all mamas gave me love. So now that I'm getting money, I got to make sure y'all living up to this same status that I'm living up to. So when people see us, our actions, our body language represent, you feel me? like we established, like we got our shit together, like we really out here getting money. And so that's where I was at. And just not really having any knowledge or really not even understanding the totality of, you feel me, the wrong I was doing. Like I say, just being naive, being a kid, being insecure, and not being able to, talk to nobody about it and just living my life like it was no tomorrow.
What was the specific situation that led to you getting 150 plus to life, or was it accumulation of things?
It was accumulation of things because basically they saying the crimes were basically it was a string of crimes. So now I have a string of crimes that consist of home invasion robbery. In the process of home invasion robbery damn near carry a life sentence, because when you move somebody 2 feet, that's considered kidnapping. And now they're saying I'm going into these people's house, making them go to the bank. So now it becomes, I'm coming in to rob you, but you're telling me, I don't have any money. The money's in the bank. So as a child, now with a child naive mind state, I'm saying, well, let's go to the bank and go get this money then. So now that's like, in their mind, they're saying, well, the sophistication of this kid, and in reality, it's no sophistication. It's just a naive kid that's not thinking. Like, no kid in their average mind is going to say, well, let's go from your home all the way to this bank just 5 minutes away so you can go inside the bank and go get this money. But this is so critical in my existence that I'm not even realizing the risk in which I'm taking. So now you just created a life sentence just based on the kidnapping charge. And this is 5 or 6 of these over the last few years. So now it's like, now you have 5 life sentence cases that involve kidnap. Then on top of that, you're saying, hey, when you went into these homes, you actually 2 people, which were adults, and one of them happened to be an intern to be assistant district attorney. So these cases are life sentences now. And so now then you had a kidnap on a cop's family. So it's like it started to become deep. The narrative was created already that, hey, like, this kid has no respect for authority. And when I went in court, I was railroaded. Like, and I said I was railroaded. I sat in county jail for 2 years. My attorney came to see me 7 days before trial, just to tell me we're going to trial. Now, I have 2,200 pages of paperwork, but I only have 1,500 going into trial. I expressed to the judge this, and I expressed I would like to fire my attorney because the whole time I'm in jail, she's never come see me to discuss my case. She stands up in the court and tells the judge, hey, he's mine, Your Honor. I went to go see him on several times, and we talked about his case and defense strategies and everything. So me being a kid, I'm like,
this call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
I'm talking to the judge disrespectful. Now I'm telling the judge, Your Honor, what you need to do is you need to get on your phone right now. You need to call the county jail and get that fine attorney business law, because this woman's sitting in front of your face lying to you right now, telling you she came to see me on 3 or 4 occasions, and she ain't never came to see me talk about my case. She came to see me for the first time 7 days ago. Due to my aggression and the way I'm speaking to the judge denies my motion to say, hey, the reality is I believe her over you. She's an officer of the court, and I believe that she's being honest because she's under oath every time she speaks. So instead of going to get those fine attorneys laws, I'm going to believe her, and what she's saying is factual, and she's an officer of the court. And it was a complete lie. 14 years later, here we are now on 15 years, going on 16 years of prison. I just declined a business involved a year and a half ago, and it said she lied at her oath. I was so angry that even when I was sentenced, I was still like, oh, I'm getting life, so I'm in court. just go crazy. So I'm the victim, you know what I mean? I'm the victim, this system is rigged and all this other stuff. So now it's like, oh, you have no remorse for what you've done. So since you have no remorse, I'm going to sentence you to the max. I'm going to sentence you to 78 years and an additional 81 years in enhancements, and I'm going to run them bow-legged. So now you have a total of 159 years to life.
What was, this is the part I want kids to pay close attention to right here. Sammy, after years of crime, after years of violating people, years of chasing the money, the quick money, I should say, when the judge sentenced you to 159 plus life, what was going on in your head?
Like, at first I was numb because I couldn't fathom it. Like, I'm like 159 because I'm not even going to live that long. So essentially you told me, like, I'm in prison for the rest of my life. And, like, I remember feeling numb, and I walked out the courtroom as if I was like I wasn't tripping just because I wanted the judge and them to think like, yeah, y'all couldn't get to me, I'm strong. And my old beliefs came into effect, like, oh, boys don't cry, we just take it on the chin. So I walked out the courtroom, and I remember when you go to the hallway, they have the mirror, it's the mirror tent. So I could see my family, but they can't see me. But they're outside in front of the courthouse. And when I see my little brother crying, when I seen my mother out there going off, now she's out of prison at the time of my trial. She going off, cussing people out. I could see her. I could see my friend's mom who believed in me and tried to save me, like, from this life out there hurt. And I see the many people I've hurt, my family. You know what I mean? I'm like, damn, like, that's when it hit me, like, damn, like, who was I? Like, how did I get to this point where I could commit crimes as if my life didn't matter? And now look at all the people I affected. Now to know that I will never see my brother grow older, to never see my mother if she passed away, never see my grandparents. My grandparents sat in my entire trial, and now they both passed away. And so just that thought of now, like, the little bit of love I did have that I thought, you know what I mean? I was searching for love so much that the little bit of love I did have that I really didn't take notice to, I lost it. And now I'm sitting in prison, and my mom got cancer now. And my mom goes into surgery tomorrow, April 11th. And I just got off the phone with her before I called you. And just that thought is in my head, like, I know how surgery can go. Because my grandpa went into surgery for diabetes and he flatlined. My grandma had a heart attack while I've been in prison. So this is something that I constantly live with. And now I'm hurting on the daily because now I ask myself,
you have 60 seconds remaining.
What was worth me not being there for my family? What was worth me abandoning my family, abandoning my little brother while he was still in the foster home? No amount of money, no amount of crime, no amount of respect, no amount of violence is worth that. So at the end of the day, I lost, and I continue to lose, all because those bad decisions I decided to make without consciously thinking.
This is the part where I want to talk to the next generation. Sammy, talk to these kids out there, man, who are living a certain lifestyle, a lifestyle that led you and many others like you to do life in prison. What advice do you have to the younger generation on how, not to follow in your footsteps?
My advice to the generation is coming up is learn your story. Learn how to tell your story. When I say learn how to tell your story and learn your story, I'm not talking about in the sense of like, to authorities or nobody like that is going to incriminate yourself. I'm saying learn your story and how it affected you. Learn your trauma and how your trauma affected you and how it affected your development. Because if you learn it, then you can start to learn how to ask for the help you need to heal. I wrote something recently for a lot of people in prison. When I look into a lot of these men eyes in prison, I see a lot of people that's hurt. I see a lot of people that's just yearning to be heard. And unfortunately, when you yearning to be heard and you have no guidance, it comes off in the form of crime. It come off in murder, robbery, kidnapping, all things to make you feel secure. So I wrote this for, like, when people are just going through what they going through. I said, they can't understand our pain because they ain't lived it. Abandon since your youth, so when you speak your truth, just let them feel it. And look them in their eyes and let them know it ain't no hate. It's faith. Your trials and tribulations made you great. Let me illustrate. That notion that you have for others just to be failed, let it be fuel to your fire. That's the way you prevail. You may not see it, but we all just want acceptance. So you accept the wrong as if it's right and you can't help it. It's like a curse and a blessing if you ask me. If it don't break you, it'll make you. When the people that you love the most betray you, it's like they hate us for no reason. I just don't understand. So when you fall, just get back up. I'll be your helping hand. Let's take a stance and figure out your worth while you're on earth. You might feel cursed, but remember, it could be worse. You could be in that hearse, buried deep in that dirt. I see that look in your eyes, and it's evident that you hurt. And I say that to say, we hurting. We come from poverty-stricken communities. We come from fatherless homes, single mother homes. And if we don't learn how to tell our story and learn how to help each other, this will continue. Crime will continue. Violence will continue. And we'll continue to lose. You could think you getting even by going out there, shooting somebody, robbing somebody. And guess what? You get your life took at the end of the day. So while you thought you was doing something to create a name for yourself, to get money in the wrong kind of way, you eventually lose years of your life. As your family die off on you, ask yourself, what's worth it? As you sit in prison and lose your grandparents, lose your mother, lose your brother, lose the little bit of people that loved you, and you can't do nothing about it but sit in a concrete cell for the rest of your life. Ask yourself, what's worth that? Nothing. And I think it's important to, like I say, allow yourself to be vulnerable. For the young men, allow yourself to be vulnerable enough to feel. Like, it's okay to feel. It's okay to hurt. It's okay to have emotions. Because everything is an emotion. Anger is an emotion. Violence is just a form of your emotions getting out of control. So once you learn that it's okay to be emotional and learn how to address those emotions, and find you an outlet. Find you somebody that you could trust and tell them, look, bro, I need help. Look, bro, I be feeling like I ain't got no love. Young women out there that's going through what they going through, speak up. And let people know what you've been through. Let somebody you could trust, an older woman in the community, know what you're going through. You feel me? The hurt, that abandonment, anything else that's going on. Let somebody know that you know got you. And if you feel like you can't let nobody know, just learn your story. And one day you will have enough strength to be able to assist somebody else that's going through that same struggle you're going through and help them and be of assistance to them so they don't got to go down that same path or experience that same pain or not have that same help that you didn't have. So,
this call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
It's time to change, and it's time to be there for each other, man. Instead of always trying to hurt each other and trying to take the quick route in life. And understand your value. Like, what's valuable to you? What's your value? Who are you? Take away the money. Take away the fame for the dumb things you do, like commit crime. Take away all that and ask yourself, like, who are you? And what makes you happy? And for a lot of us, for me as a child, I didn't know what made me happy. Making money made me happy. Taking care of my family made me happy. Because I had no foundation. So, like, get a foundation. I think that's important. Like, now I believe in a higher power. I believe in God. And I tell everybody, I don't believe in God on no holier than thou type of stuff. I just know that if I pick up this Quran and I find myself in a situation, I'm emotional. So I'm going to respond with emotions. If you disrespect me, I'm going to respond angrily. If you do something to my family, I'm going to respond a certain way. But I know if I pick up this book, it's going and I listen to what this book tell me, I guarantee you I'll stay out of more trouble if I listen to this guy from this book other than going on my own actions and my own feelings. So I say that to say, find your guide, no matter what it is. And find your structure and find your foundation, because without it, you'll keep crumbling over and over and over again. And I don't never want to see another kid, another young man, another young woman that grew up hurting, that grew up misunderstood, find themselves trapped in a box, just like I am right now, with no way out. The only way out is to get old and die. And then they'll send your body to somewhere and then they can bury you. That's not living. That's not living at all. That's a life wasted at the end of the day. So, like I said, that's it.
You know, we have a few minutes. We talk to the kids, and now talk to the parents who may be putting their kids through trauma and not realizing it.
Parents, this is important right here. Parents, understand that y'all need help too. Understand what y'all been through. Like, your kids don't understand what you've been through. And a lot of parents are just adults that still have untreated trauma. Kids raising kids at the end of the day. And, like, to all parents, like, I feel you. I understand you. What happens in our household, stay in our household. That's like our thing. I remember my mom used to tell me growing up, boy, you better not never tell nobody what's going on in this house. And at the end of the day, I honor that. But as parents, y'all have to be vulnerable enough to say that y'all still need help. That y'all didn't have the right guidance. And once y'all still realize that it's never too late to get help, then y'all can help y'all children. It takes a village to raise kids. So mothers, like, y'all got a reason to hurt.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Y'all raised, single. You feel me? Abandoned by these men that y'all trusted, that y'all loved, that y'all gave y'all essence to. So I know y'all hurt. I know it's hard for y'all to trust. I know when you look into your kids' eyes, you see that same man that abandoned you. You see some of his ways at the end of the day. But heal. And men, like, let's help our women heal. I told somebody the other day, I said, man, everybody want a black man. Like, everybody want a black man. But how many other races want a black woman? Like, you got white women lined up, Asian women lined up, Indian women lined up. They want a black man. Oh, they love the black man. But when they hear about a black woman, what you hear, they're angry.
Damn.
They're upset. They're crazy. No, they not. Black women are hurt.
Oh, yeah.
Black women are hurt because black women are hurt because they've been through generations of trauma. Black women are the most oppressed human beings on earth. And sometimes people forget that. So when you see a black woman, you say, oh, she's angry, she's upset. Let's put yourself in a black woman situation. You having kids with a man that you trying to strive to love and be everything for him. And at the end of the day, he in the streets, and in some way, shape, or form, he abandoned his family because he go to jail, or he just decided to be a deadbeat dad. Now this woman is stuck with this kid, or two, or three. and nobody wants her. There ain't a white man lining up with a good job saying, I'm going to take care of this woman and her kids. You feel me? Another black man that said, I'm not taking care of the next man's kids. Ain't no Asian men lined up for them, none of that. So now, in a sense, their existence when it comes to love, having a husband, is now over. They got a right to be hurt. They got a right to be upset. They got a right to be angry. Because that's untreated trauma that they will never heal from. So when y'all see a black woman, y'all tilt y'all hat to a black woman. Y'all tilt y'all hat to all women. But tilt your hat to them because they've been through so much. And as black men, as we find ourselves, I challenge all black men. Let's find ourselves. Let's educate ourselves. Let's be men. Let's stop with the fake politics and I'm better than you and I'm this, I'm certified, I'm this, I'm that. What all that mean if you ain't being a dad to your kid? You a certified factor in the street, but you ain't no daddy. You a certified factor in the street, but you abandon your family. You feel me? Like, we got our priorities messed up. We don't even know our identity. Like, what's your identity as a man? And I'm not bashing nobody because I didn't have an identity as a kid. So I'm not here to try to say I'm better than nobody or nobody better than me. I'm saying we need each other. We need to find our.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
We need to find our identity as a whole. We need to be there for our women and rebuild our women up as a whole. And that's how we change the next generation when they see it within us as adults now, seeing that we vulnerable enough to get the help we need and acknowledge our vulnerabilities and acknowledge our insecurities and start that process of change.
Thank you, Sammy. Hey, I'm going to make sure I compliment you when I talk to Ali in a couple weeks, man. So I'm sure we'll be talking again, all right?
Thank you, man. I appreciate you putting me on here. Let me get my time, and you gotta keep doing what you're doing, man.
Thank you, brother. Stay safe. I'll talk to you soon, all right?
All right.
Peace, man.